Hello, hello, my sweet ones. I hope you are doing well today. So, I wanted to pop on live to talk about a concept that's been coming up a lot with my life coaching clients and in my current masterclass, The Feminist Wellness Guide to Overcoming Codependency. So, we talk a lot about codependency and perfectionism. And one of the things that can come up in both thought habits, and let's remember, we do positive psychology, we do love, we do gentleness in this family. And so we talk about these thought habits as thought habits, right? It's not like some permanent state of being. You're not going to find me saying, like, she is a codependent, he is a codependent, they are a codependent, right? We talk about it as a thought habit because that's what it is. It's healable, it's changeable, it's shiftable. Thank goodness for neuroplasticity, right? So here's the thing that I want to talk about that's been coming up so much, and it's this issue of making things a problem that don't need to be a problem. So the way it came up this week was a coaching client of mine was doing the work we start in the masterclass with feeling our feelings, and we really focus on building that skill because I think it's really foundational. Having that somatic connection, getting really real about your feelings starts with feeling them in your body. And one of the things I see so often in the healing space is that emotional and spiritual bypassing of pretending your feelings aren't real, pretending you're not having them, trying to sort of leapfrog using like positive vibes only kind of energy or like gratitude energy, which like I love positivity and I love gratitude, but it has its place. And first, I deeply believe that we get to start, and I would even say we have to start if we want healing, if we want growth. We start with feeling our feelings deeply in our bodies, which I know and understand can be really challenging for folks with trauma histories, which is most mammals, but it's a really vital skill to develop, that skill of being your own watcher, which I talked about in, I think it was episode 2 of the Feminist Wellness podcast, my free weekly podcast. So understanding how vital it is to be in touch with yourself, your body, and knowing that your body sends you signals through your feelings, through your emotions, because it loves you and it wants to alert you to what it's experiencing. So it may think that there's danger afoot, or that you're unsafe, or that something is too risky, and so it sends you a signal. And what I teach is that we get in touch with those signals, we honor them, we hold so much space and love for them, right? We get really real with our nervous system, with our autonomic nervous system, and can recognize like, okay, that's a little sympathetic activation. That's okay. Or, oh, I'm slipping into dorsal. Okay, I'm withdrawing, I'm getting a little immobilized, and that's okay. So here's the thing that happens, particularly when codependency and perfectionism are our habits. We jump really quickly into judging ourselves for whatever we're thinking, feeling, experiencing within our nervous systems, within our bodies. And so a core and central teaching to my work is that you have the choice to decide whether something is a problem. So nothing is a problem for you in your life until you label it as such, until you decide that it's a problem. And you get to decide what you want to call a problem, what you want to make note of as something that needs a solution in your life. And so the case in point from this week's coaching, in the masterclass, we do a live group coaching call every single week, which is so exciting and so much fun, and really shows people how to coach themselves, which of course is the goal because feminism, right? And so what kept coming up was this concept of folks thinking and feeling and experiencing something as a problem and wanting a solution without pausing and getting neutral and recognizing that it doesn't have to be a problem. So the example, one of my clients was sharing that as she works on feeling her feelings, she's having more flares of her irritable bowel syndrome, of IBS, which is like totally normal, totally expectable. If you think about the autonomic nervous system, that's literally how it works, right? So when we are in ventral vagal, when we are feeling safe and social and connected, either outside with loving people or animals or trees or nature, or we are resourced internally, right? So we can be ventral vagal with ourselves and with an internal resource, meaning someone or something, a concept in our life that brings us that sense of peace and connection. So when we're in ventral vagal, that's when we digest. Science, right? That's how that works. When we are up the polyvagal ladder into sympathetic activation, right? When adrenaline, norepinephrine, eventually cortisol are our predominant hormones, or when we have exhausted our capacity to be present in that moment and we sink down into dorsal, right, into that immobilization, into that I'm done kind of energy, right, that like, oh, I just can't anymore energy, that like possum, right, freeze energy. In those states, we cannot digest. It's not what's supposed to happen. Thyroid hormone isn't happening. T4, thyroid hormone, isn't getting converted into active T3, so your metabolism takes a hit. Your sex hormones, your conversion of cholesterol into hormones, like all these things, including your cognition, your capacity to think like in a focused way, your access to all of your amazing smarts gets put on hold because your body thinks you're under great duress, under stress, and so it prepares you to, well, fight or flight, right? To either like punch a lion in the nose or like get the heck out of there. And so in either state, your body isn't going to take your food, break it down, mix it with appropriate enzymes. Your pancreatic elastase isn't going to be flowing. Secretory IgA is not going to be optimized, right? Et cetera, et cetera. And belly aches come with that, right? So we know because science that stress and IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, go hand in glove. Yes, there can be bacterial overgrowth. Yes, there can be parasites, worms, and one of the things that will tank your digestive enzymes, your stomach acid, faster than anything is stress, which we can then nerd even a little harder because we nerd in this family to say not having as much ventral vagal connection as your body needs. How's that for a diplomatic, non-judgmental way to state it, right? Because there's no like perfect amount of ventral vagal. Okay, so let's bring this on back to my client. She was doing this work like we do in the master class of really getting deeply in touch with her feelings in her body, right? Learning how to process her feelings and not just to say, yeah, I'm angry, which is great. That's a skill. But to say like, okay, when I feel anger, it's like this red, hot, tense energy in my chest. When I feel sad, it's like this wave of blue behind my eyes, etc. And as she was working on this and getting more able to get in touch with these experiences, her feelings in her body, and to titrate that experience, right? Because we don't jump into it. We do it slowly, but slowly, right? To allow the nervous system to regulate around that experience. We do it lovingly and gently. She was having looser poops, which makes sense biologically, and was an experience that felt really stressful for her because it was new, and that makes sense. And who likes having loose stools? But the point is, in her mind, it was a problem that needed to be solved, right? Like it was a problem. And so she came to me to say, what do I do? How do I fix this? And my response to her was to start with reframing, re-understanding the experience, to say today's experience of loose stool doesn't have to be a crisis point, right? It doesn't have to be one more thing that sends you into sympathetic activation. It doesn't have to send you into that fight or flight, like, what's going on? I need to fix this. I need to take a supplement. I need to take a medicine. I need to fix it, right? Because from this tense, tight energy, from this it's a problem energy, you are not in ventral vagal. So when you can Take a big, deep breath into your belly. Expand, expand, expand your belly, and breathe out. Really slowly, long exhale. You start to shunt your physiology into that ventral vagal place. And you can then start to give yourself some love to do the somatic practices that I teach in my masterclass and on the Feminist Wellness podcast each week to bring yourself back into that alignment that will support you to make the next right choice. Because again, from pushing against it, from not accepting, like, okay, my belly hurts. Like, this is happening, this is real, and I'm not going to call it a problem. Instead, I'm going to accept that it's happening and just accept what is. And from that place, she was able to take the supplements. She was able to make the dietary changes, right? Make a connection with a clinician. But we are not able to make those most smartest decisions from that place of tension. This is a problem. So the first step is to come into that awareness, like, I am making this into a problem. Accept that whatever is happening, and accept that habit of making things into problems, because that's okay, right? It's a survival technique that you have brought on over the years, and so it served you. Get real with that, get into acceptance with that. Get ventral vagal with yourself, with a pet, with another human, however you can get ventral vagal right into that safe and secure feeling place in your body. And from there, you can make your best decisions. From there, you can move your life forward in a way that you can't when you're making whatever is real into a problem. And please, my darling, like, I get it. My brain does it too. All of our brains do it. It's evolutionary. I mean, total nerd alert, as always. Our bodies, our nervous systems, our neuroception is built to literally have one goal, which is our human survival. And so our eyes, our ears, our nose, our bodies are constantly on the lookout for attack, for lion, for marauders on the horizon. And so your body will take anything that you feed into your system or gets fed into your system as a possible cause for freak out, as a cause for freak out. And the work there too is not to get mad at your body, not to get mad at your physiology, not to get mad at your inner children, right? But to step into that acceptance and love, to say, this is what's happening in this moment. And the next step would be gratitude, right? Like just that little moment of like, oh, body, okay, I get it. This is your habitual response. Instead of getting mad at it or pushing it away or trying to pretend it's not real, I really want to invite you to consider the possibility and to feel into how different it feels to say, okay, this is what's happening because my body loves me, my inner adolescent loves me, my inner children love me. Okay. And I'm an adult. I'm a healthy adult, right? And healthy is not like one thing, right? There's no judgment in that word. You get to decide what healthy means for you today in this moment. So I am an adult, and as my adult self, I can make that next right choice for me and my beloved inner village, for my body, my mind, my heart, my spirit. I can take good care of me, and I don't have to make the ebbs and flows of life into problems. Awareness, acceptance, and then action. Don't rush to action, my darling. Don't rush to label it a problem and push it away. I know, it feels easier in the moment. Trust, I get it, but it doesn't work long term. It really doesn't serve you, my beautiful one. Instead, practice acceptance. Practice trying it on, feeling it, feeling into those feelings that are uncomfortable. And through that process, learn how to sit with discomfort. It's one of the best gifts I've given myself, is learning how to get really, really, really uncomfortable. Just every single day, right? Challenging myself to get uncomfortable in a new way, a new meditation, a new Kundalini practice, a new breathing technique. But just to show myself just the ways I can grow. And I'll make a note on that. For me, it's never about pushing myself to do these things. Like never, ever, ever. My inner child was pushed to be productive, to succeed, to achieve, to get the accolade way too much. And so I never, ever push myself. As my own most loving adult, I encourage myself. I just give myself some love, some gentleness, and I see what I can try on today as an experiment. So that's what I have for you, my love. Remember, awareness, acceptance, action. No emotional bypassing in this family. Here we feel our feels. We feel them in our body. We connect in with our inner children, right? Because that's where the healing is generally needed. Our adult selves need healing, yes. And it's really that inner village that really wants and needs your attention and love. One way to do that work is by learning about and connecting with your nervous system to understand your physiologic responses, and by learning how to reparent yourself on the daily. These are skills that I teach here on lives and every single week over on the Feminist Wellness Podcast, my free show that comes out every single Thursday. So take a moment to subscribe. I hope you enjoy it. And it's really a passion project for me. And if you're interested in working with me, I'm taking just a few more one-on-one clients before I launch the Feminist Wellness Guide to Overcoming Codependency again in the fall. So head on over to my website, victoriaalbina.com. I have a series of free meditations there that you can download right from the homepage. And one of them is an inner child healing meditation. So I know that'll be supportive for you. Thank you for spending part of your Thursday afternoon with me, and I will be back same time, same place next week. Hope you're well, my love. Ciao.